Never overstimulate your woman. Never overstimulate your woman. I have a clip for this.
Times you guys are in situations to where you're overstimulating your woman, whether it be too much arguing or too much pleasure. You have to understand your woman's sensory levels. Too much love, too much laughing, too much drama can make a person overstimulated. And what happens is when a person is overstimulated, they naturally remove themselves from the situation or they fight with you. When we start to become overstimulated by the people that surround us, we tend to go at them and combat them to fight them off so they can go away. It's a natural human response to overstimulation. We're a lot more irritable and combative with them. And so you're wondering why your woman just got bitchy and everything been going good all of a sudden.
Use the word bitchy. Overstimulating. Never overstimulate your woman. I want to get to the women first because I think this is a very important topic. I always preach about balance. And in order for you to have balance, you got to pay attention to what's going on because sometimes you could be too hot, sometimes you could be too cold. Sometimes when you're too cold, it's boring, right? And sometimes when you're too hot, it's like, oh, you're doing the most, you're doing too much. I can't breathe too. So, women, never overstimulate your woman. Let's talk about that. Have you guys got overstimulated before? Is it an issue? Does the guy not know what he's talking about? Let's get your thoughts. I'm gonna go ahead and start with Chanel. You look fired up. You got that Diana Ross look going on. So go ahead.
I do. Yeah, I've definitely been overstimulated. When my husband and I were planning our wedding, God, that was intense. Each little detail had to be perfect, and just making sure everything went the right way. It drove me crazy at one point where I think I had a panic attack. So I think, but I don't think it's just a woman thing. I think for men, maybe they can deal with overstimulation in a different kind of way. But for me, it was too much at one time. And when a couple goes through that together, it can be you can clash at some points in time. So you just have to try to deal with it calmly as best as you can. But it's tough.
I like what you said at first, Lapeef, when you were talking about a balance. Like, I think when it comes to things like this, there's a balance. Like, too much of anything can be overstimulated for anybody. Like Chanel said, on either side, if the man is taking too much of shit, or the woman is doing all the cooking, all the cleaning, all of everything, and she still has to please you and other things like that, it's like that can get to be overstimulating. So I think finding a good balance, and that looks different for every single couple, so finding a good balance is what you should do. But yeah, that's it.
Yeah, it's a few moments that I noticed where a woman would like for you to speak up. Sometimes she want to be checked, so to speak, or want you to speak up on something. Then when you don't do it, it's like, what have I got myself into? Go ahead, Coach K. What are your thoughts about it? Balance. Come on back. Don't be trying to play hide and seek over there.
I don't know. I feel like life naturally gets in the way to make this even be a thing. But I can say, at least on maybe vacation or when you're spending all your time with that person, that's when I can see you're getting a little irritable. But I don't know if there is ever too much love, too much pleasure. I think life naturally balances that out, in my opinion. So I don't really relate to this.
Wait, hold on. Before we go to the next person, what do you mean there's no such thing as too much love or too much pleasure? Like, you don't think you would get annoyed because you're married, right?
Yeah.
Like, if you were around your husband all day, let's just say y'all both had stay-at-home jobs, you had to be around this man all day. Do you think that you couldn't possibly get like annoyed and like, oh my God, I see you too damn much? Like,
you see, that's where, like, that's why I said, like, on vacation, yeah, I could see that. But I think life naturally is just not going to be like this because we both, well, at least for me especially, I like my alone time. So I'm going to go out and get that. And if he knows, and he does know that I need that, then that's just how we're going to flow. So it already just balances out in that way so that we aren't together. Because I could see that if we're up each other's, butts all the time, like on vacation or whatever. But we have things to do, we got people to
that's
see.
where the balance
whatever
comes in, because you're not like up each other's butt cracks all day.
Yeah, that's why I said life naturally gets in the way, I think.
Okay.
Like if you have priorities, you know what I mean? But vacation, yes, I could see where But again, I'm gonna go out and get, take the time that I need to, get time away from him. So by myself.
What? Yeah, go ahead, Balance. What are your thoughts about never overstimulate your woman?
You got to learn your woman, because I say all the time, every woman is different. So you have to learn what works for your woman. Me personally, I need a lot of like attention, like not a lot in the sense of all the time, but every day. If we don't live together, we should be talking on the phone every day. We should be interacting somehow every day. But maybe some other woman doesn't like that. So you have to learn your woman specifically. And and again, that goes for men and women. Learn what their level is and what they like, because sometimes if you don't give a person what it is they need, they're going to think that you're not as interested in them as they may want. So you have to learn your person specifically and give them what they need. As far as overstimulate, I have had a situation where my man is like, okay, can we like do something else today? Like, you go with your friends, I go with my friends. And I'm like, okay, that's cool. But he had to tell me that. But, like I said, just learn your person specifically and you'll be okay.
Okay. Gentlemen, it's our turn to hop in there now. Let me get you guys' thoughts. Luis, never overstimulate your woman. You can respond to the video and to what the ladies were saying. What are your thoughts about it, sir?
I mean, my thoughts is that, there needs to be balance and congruency, right? I mean, the absence, makes the heart grow fonder. I know that we tend to kind of get caught up in our day-to-day life, and there is that sort of separation. So when you come together in the evening time, you've already have grown that sort of that need or want or attention. But I do think that a little bit of overstimulation, like being all in your face or not really understanding certain boundaries, right? This is why a lot of men have like man caves or spaces to kind of decompress or just separate from your partner. But I think that understanding each other's temperament will kind of allow you to kind of bridge that gap. But I think there is just balance and congruency. A little bit too much pleasure is never a wrong thing, but I think too much neediness could be a bit much.
I can't get off mute quick enough. Struggle streaming. So I put in the back chat the definition for stimulate, because I was listening to the brother and I was trying to get I was trying to understand what he's saying. The way I took what he was saying was the man's working hard to keep his woman satisfied, keep her stimulated, whether that's doing certain acts of kindness for her, or whatever it is that she likes, speaking her love language, or he said, because he said, too much of anything. So he went on the other side of the spectrum saying if you're arguing too much, right? So stimulate, raise levels of psychological nervous activity in the body or any biological system, encourage interest or activity in a person or animal, encourage development of or increased activity in a state of process, right? So when I think about it, I think you hit it on the nail, JR, in terms of that balance. And I think that comes with knowing who you're with. That's you investing time into that person, understanding that person, at times willing to sacrifice for that person. But if it's like, if we looked at, I'm just using this as an example, if we look at Blueface and Krishan, right? I don't know if y'all familiar with them, but imagine it's probably been discussed already. Like, that's to the extreme, right? So the way you see that woman responding to that man, there's nothing he can do, right? I mean, he's already done way too much. And the way you see that young lady respond to that man is probably one of the most toxic expressions that we've seen on camera in a long time. So I agree. I don't agree with the brother's conclusion, but I do agree that, you should never overstimulate your woman, but you should work actively to find that balance.
I like that. Brother Hing, what are your thoughts, sir? Never overstimulate your woman.
Now, if he's talking about sexually, I don't agree with that at all.
What?
You can never come on now. I mean, I'm just saying, you can never do that enough. I encourage people to do it as much as they can, while they can, especially as men. There's going to be an end date for us. Even with the blue diamond, it don't always help you. But let me say this. As far as arguing, man, no, yeah, I agree with that. You should not be arguing with your wife anyway. Walk away from her ass. Take yourself out of the equation because it's not going to end up in a good situation anyway. Because again, I'm gonna tell you guys, y'all gonna mess around and say some shit you're gonna regret later, and now you got to explain why you said what you said. There's no need to doing that. Just walk away from her. She want to sit there and argue. If you're on the phone with her, hang up. If you're in a room with her, get out. And come back and say, we can talk. Well, we can be respectful, talk at a respectable tone, and have a respectable conversation. But until then, we can't talk. I'm not going to have a conversation with you where we're going yelling back and forth, raising our voice. Now we got to worry about if the kids hearing our conversation, hearing stuff that they don't need to be heard or be exposed to. No, we're not doing this. So, yeah, overexposure of argument and all that. As far as pleasure, no. And if my woman had a stay-at-home job, I wouldn't have no stay-at-home job. I'm getting the hell out. I'm getting the hell out because I need that space and that time away from her. You all, man. Some people could do it. I'm not built like that. I don't want to be around you 24/7. I love you. I care about you. I respect you. But I can't be around you 24/7, so I need my time. And I'm going to take it. I'm not going to ask for it. I'm going to take it. If that means I need to take a stroll around the block just to enjoy nature, enjoy the weather and the elements, so be it. If it means I need to go to a gym, if I just want to go to the store and just window shop, then I'm going to do that just to get away, just to get a moment. So,
Hank, I'm just curious, and this is a random question, but when you're with your lady, do you hold hands?
Do I hold hands?
Yeah.
If she wants to, yeah, I ain't no problem with that. Okay. I smack on her ass too. I had no problem with that. I'm all for public affection. I know people think I got this hard persona, man. You're so mean. You're fucking eat steel. Nah, man. Look, I love ladies. I love y'all beautiful, especially you natural hair women. I love it. So yeah, I don't have no problem with holding her hand, smack on her ass, kiss her on the cheek, showing public affection. No, none of that.
Hey, Hank, to your point though, remember when COVID, C-19 first hit? I don't know what we can say, what we can't say. I've been away from you two so long, man. Remember when it first hit and everybody had to stay inside? People learned about their partners real quick. Real quick.
They learned that they were with the wrong person this whole time. Investing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 years, and it took a whole pandemic to realize it.
Hey, even with that, Rilla, you still got ways to get away. You can still, again, I could walk around that block. I don't care how cold it is. I got sweats. I put them on and I go. Give yourself time. Fortunately for me, my job never stopped. You know what I'm saying? I was at 24, 365 days. It never stopped. Matter of fact, I got paid more during COVID because I was getting overtime. So, but I know other people, it was affected. I feel bad for them cats, especially that's not in that frame of mind they could be around their significant other that long, that much. Because sometimes it could be overkill, especially for men. Again, I tell ladies all the time, men don't like to talk a lot. We don't. If you get 2 hours, I'm talking about out of all the phone calls, all the communication, if you get 2 hours, man, you got a lot out of them. Because most men don't want to have a lot of conversation. We want to be at peace. We want to be quiet. I know y'all like to interact and want to tell us about your day. We'll just sit there and listen. We'll say very few words. Oh, yeah? Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. Okay. Well, I hope it gets better. That's what we do. We don't want to sit there and go about our day because y'all really don't care. Y'all really don't care. So we don't even waste our time expressing it. What's wrong, Curry for life? What's wrong? You give me that balancing
I'm
type
just trying to figure
right
out like what type of woman you're used to dealing with. That's what I'm just over here trying to figure it out. I'm like, damn, your woman don't care about how your day went. I hate that for you.
No, listen. Again, they asked me how my day was. It's not a problem with that. It's not a lot of conversation coming out of me though. True. That's what I'm trying to tell you. I'm not going to give you a whole dissertation on my day. I'm not going to do that.
I feel like you're generalizing a lot of men, and you're taking your mindset and how you view things.
You might be right.
For all men, some men do like to talk. Some men are like to communicate with their woman. It may not be you.
I understand. Ma'am, I didn't say they didn't like communication. You're not going to get a lot out of them. That's what I'm telling
I get
you.
a lot out of my man. So
Congratulations.
Can I
he's
say
talking a lot to me.
this is why it's
I'm just
good.
saying it's not everybody.
I didn't say it was.
I hear you though, Hank. That's you, and I respect it.
I don't blame you.
Well, it's good there's a lot of people on the panel because then they can share, you know, everyone has different perspectives or how they view their relationship. But I wanted to say, I think it's good to reinforce the idea here in this context that you're not going to get everything you want, all the connection you need from one person. So if you like to talk about, I don't know, politics and your guys are into politics, then you talk about that with your friend. Don't force your guy to be into something that he's not into, you know? So it's like, I think even balance comes from that. Obviously your man is going to be your one and only, your purpose, but at the same time, you need to make time for those other needs with your friends, your family, whatever. So.
No, Coach K, reverse that. Men like to talk about politics for the women. Don't try and force your man to talk about some Real Housewives of Atlanta and some love and hip hop. Keep that for your girlfriends. Talk to that. Talk about that with her.
Right. Everybody's different, but my husband doesn't really enjoy talking about politics, but I like to talk about it. So I totally agree with Coach K. I talk to my friends or peers at work, and we get to discuss those things that my husband may not be like super into. He'll indulge if I'm like super like hyped, and he's like, okay, cool. But really and truly, he's just like, okay, I don't care.
Hey, can I ask the ladies, JR, before you move on? I'm sorry, bro. Can I ask the ladies a question? Because I see this a lot, and every time I see it, I just like to hear y'all's perspective on this. So when we're on these panels and we're talking, we understand as men, we understand not all. We may say most, we may generalize, we say some. Why? So like you rarely hear the men come back and say, well, not everybody's that way. It's only some people. I'm just curious, why do the ladies feel the need to like qualify or clarify that we're talking about specific people and not generalizing, which is mostly what we do when we on these panels?
I'll say no. Go ahead. Go ahead. No, you go ahead.
I agree with what you're saying, Rilla. I do. I think maybe we tend to do that because if we've lived an experience that's different, maybe we don't have a scope in what you're actually saying or like the generalities, which can be a bad thing. We shouldn't do that. But I think that's what we tend to do.
I see two different things that happens here. It's either one, and I found myself doing this, when guys will speak on maybe the general, minds of women, I'll be like, but I'm not like that. It's almost like I want to seek validation somehow, and that's about me, and I need to cut that out. I found myself doing that. But then on the other end, hit dog will holler. So sometimes I think women, they relate to that, but they also get defensive naturally. And there's something to be said about that. So I think there's like two sides up to it.